Success doesn't heal trauma. Assalamu alaikum and welcome to the Sacred Man Experience podcast. I am Imran Muhammad, aka the Pattern Interrupter. Here we speak about the journey of manhood through the lens of faith, how to be strong but also soft, how to lead but also to listen. Today I want to address a belief that many people carry silently, often without even realizing it. That success will heal what is happening inside me and inside them. That achievement will resolve emotional pain. That external progress will fix internal wounds. But in reality, it rarely works that way. Success does not heal trauma. It often hides it. Now, let me be clear. This is not an anti-success message. Success is important. Achievement matters. Responsibility matters. Provision matters. But internal healing is a different process entirely. Let me explain. In my experience, working across the work that I do within behavioral change, rehabilitation, in prison environments, and working with individuals who are long-term human in the idea of long-term transformational work, I've seen a consistent pattern. People can build extraordinary external lives while still carrying unresolved internal pain. And sometimes, the more successful they are and they become externally, the more invisible the internal struggle becomes. Because success creates structure. Success creates distraction. Success creates a particular identity. And sometimes success creates distance from the self. Let me give you an example. I once worked with an individual who had achieved a level of success that many would admire. Very stable financially, got recognition professionally, amazing responsibility, respect. From the outside, he was no obvious issue at all. There was no obvious issue at all. Internally, something was unresolved. There was emotional heaviness that had never been addressed. There were experiences from earlier in life that were never processed. There were patterns of thought and behavior that continue to repeat under pressure. But because life was successful, there was an assumption that everything was fine. This is one of the most common misunderstandings in human behavior, that external success equals internal health. It does not. Now, let's dive into this a little more deeper. Trauma is not always about one major event. Sometimes it is about repeated emotional experiences that were never fully processed. Sometimes it is about environments where emotional needs were not met. Sometimes it's about pressure, neglect, instability, or chronic stress. And when these experiences are not processed, they do not disappear. They adapt. They influence behavior. They influence relationships. They influence decision making. And they influence emotional regulation. Now, here is the important part. Success often increases coping mechanisms rather than resolving underlying issues. For example, Work becomes a distraction. Achievement becomes a coping mechanism. Busyness becomes avoidance. Status becomes protection. So instead of healing, the person becomes more efficient at managing the pain. Now, I want to be very honest. Many high performing individuals are not struggling because they lack capability. It's not like that at all. They are struggling because they are carrying unresolved internal weight while trying to perform at a high level externally. And over time, that creates internal tension. Let me explain something clearly. You can expand your external life faster than you resolve your internal world. And when that happens, imbalance begins. You may become more successful, but not necessarily more peaceful, more respected, but not necessarily more stable, more busy, but not necessarily more fulfilled. Now, let's go deeper into behavior. When internal pain is not addressed, it often expresses itself indirectly through stress, through irritability, through emotional distance, through addiction, through compulsive behavior, through relationship breakdown, or through burnout. Not always dramatically, often gradually. Now, I want to bring this into reflection. Many people say, I just need to achieve more and then I'll feel better. But what often happens is this: they achieve more and the emotional gap remains because achievement does not reach the part of the human experience that needs healing. Only awareness, honesty, and processing can do that. Now, let me ask you something important. What are you expecting success to fix? What are you fixing? That requires something deeper. Because sometimes people are not chasing success, they're chasing a sense of relief. Relief from their pain, relief from insecurity, relief from internal discomfort. But success alone does not resolve those things. Now, I want to offer you 3 questions. And I do this with every podcast that I record and I send out. Because what questions do is that at a deeper level, they touch on something which is very significant. And I want you to listen to these questions and write. Many of you who have journals, please write this into your journal. Question number 1: what part of my past have I never fully processed? Question number 2: what emotions do I avoid by staying busy or focused on achievement? And number 3: if I've removed all success and status, what internal work would remain? Because clarity often comes when external identity is stripped away in reflection. Now, I want to close with this. Success is not the enemy. It is not a substitute for healing.